Well, I thought this could be a fun video. Let's talk about, I'm going to rank the rookie quarterbacks and how they played in the preseason. And just to be clear, I'm talking about what I learned from them in the preseason. So this is not a ranking of who I think will have the best 2022 season. It's simply who improved my perception of them the most this preseason. So that's kind of the way that I am evaluating this. So also I should mention I'm only going to be doing the top 6 quarterbacks that were selected just because, there were some 7th round guys that I didn't watch all the snaps of. The main guys we want to talk about are the top 6. So while there was only one first rounder, I think there's a lot of intrigue in a lot of these guys. So figured I'd make a video kind of giving my thoughts on all 6 of them. Let's start off with number 6 and we'll work our way up. Number 6, I do have Matt Corral. The number you see next to him, 93, that is where he ranked in terms of PFF grades among quarterbacks who got at least one snap. So just if you threw a pass, then this is your grade. And so the 93 overall is certainly not ideal, but also I think what's more concerning was the fact that he got hurt. So getting to injury, I decided it's you kind of have to just put him at 6, right? Because I didn't think he looked great when he was out there, and which was disappointing. He showed some flashes, I should say that. I guess, I had to mention how I felt about him. I really liked him out of college. I thought he was going to be very good. So he was, I thought there was a lot to like there, and I thought that when he came in, maybe it was just the situation around him, but it was inconsistent is probably the best way to put it. He wasn't bad at all, but he just wasn't great, and I thought there were some consistency issues that he has to work on because it's rookie quarterbacks. And listen, one thing I should mention with all these rookie quarterbacks is who knows with this stuff, right? It feels like it really does kind of just seem like it's like you're trying to predict the weather 6 years from now, or just like you can make an educated guess based on what it's been in the past, but it just seems like there's going to be so much variables. It's going to be really hard to tell if it rains on, in the middle of November on 2028, right? I just don't know. Maybe someone can figure that out. Some people are better than others, but it's very difficult. So with Matt Corral, that's kind of how I view it as well. The injury is kind of the main thing that pushes him back, so he has to be at 6. Number 5, I do have Bailey Zappe here. Remember, Bailey Zappe was actually drafted ahead of Sam Howell, even though many felt like Sam Howell should have been at least the 5th quarterback there. Many thought that Sam Howell could have even been the first quarterback selected. He is not the first. He was the 6th. Bailey Zappe ahead of him. And I liked Zappe a lot. I actually considered having Zappe ahead of Sam Howell in my own rankings for a moment. There's stuff to like about Zappe for sure. I think that, he's someone who should be able to step in right away and run an offense. And I think that for someone was purely drafted to just be a backup, like everyone else, you can kind of talk yourself into maybe there's going to be a starter situation. Like Malik Willis seems unlikely that, he's going to replace Ryan Tannehill, but you can talk yourself into maybe the Titans hate Ryan Tannehill or something if you really want to. Clearly, the Patriots do not hate Mac Jones, but I think they just like Zappe and what he can do, and I get it because he does kind of fit that Patriots mold of he can just run the offense, and they want a backup quarterback, so why not go out and get someone like this who I think that they like, and I think that with the draft capital they gave up for him, they are probably totally fine with just a backup quarterback. But I thought he came in and played well for the preseason. The whole thing this video is about. I thought he just came in and again looked like Bailey Zappe was taking the check down quickly, all of that stuff that the Patriots offense values, which again I'm assuming is going to be the same offense or at least a similar offense as it has been under Josh McDaniels, and that he can do all of those things. So I thought he played well, but I can't put him too much higher because I didn't think he was exceptional or great at much, but I put him here at 5. Number 4 is Malik Willis. Malik Willis, who, again, he was worse than Zappe in terms of the PFF grades, but I'm okay with that because the goal isn't to look as good as you can in the preseason and play as well as you can in the preseason. The goal is to show me what you could potentially do for future years. The reality is none of these guys are going to be winning a Super Bowl unless it's as a backup this season, so you're hoping that you just come in and maybe show some flashes that could be good in years to come. And I think Malik Willis did some of that. Now, he also showed his negatives, so that's why he's 4, is because I think that he showed more flashes than the 2 guys I have behind him, but he did not have the, you still do have to have that other stuff, right? Which I think he struggled with. I think that every game there was a few wow, that was a great play, and a few That was not great. So there was consistently that kind of stuff with Malik Willis, which was the concern. But I do think that, again, I do like what Malik Willis can do. I had him as my quarterback 1 coming out of the draft, and I probably would still say that now, even with getting some preseason tape. I don't think that would change my opinion, because, again, this is the ranking of how I viewed them in the preseason. And I think that, he met my expectations. He showed what he can do, but still has those negatives. The perfect thing would be if the negatives weren't there, then I'd be like, he's number 1. He's going to be awesome. We still saw some of those negatives, though, so hopefully he can, work on those this season. Number 3, give me Desmond Ridder of the Atlanta Falcons, a guy who I could easily see starting, relatively early on into this season. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this guy gets 10-plus starts this season. I thought he looked good out there. He definitely looked competent. I think that he showed that he can run the offense. He did make some mistakes, but I didn't think he made a ton of mistakes. I thought that's, the 2 interception game is misleading. I thought the first interception was kind of a weird fluky play. The second interception was just on essentially what was a Hail Mary type situation. So for Ridder, he threw a Hail Mary in his first game in an NFL uniform. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of guys can say that. And again, I thought that he showed what he can do. He showcased his talent. He showed what he can, how he can sort of work in the NFL. And I think he did a good job of running the offense. And for a guy who has gotten some Ryan Tannehill comparisons in a scheme that was very, good with Ryan Tannehill, I can see it. You can talk yourself into it. So I definitely think that he was impressive. I liked him out of college. I think I still like him now. I totally get the logic behind it. Number 2, I have Sam Howell, who, as I just said, I considered putting him number 6 on my quarterback rankings, but I was impressed with him this preseason. I really was. I thought that he did a great job at, just working. Like, what he did just worked. And that's the goal at the end of the day, is to just find ways to, get the ball down the field. And all these weird running plays that I'm like, well, that won't work at the NFL level. When I saw him in college, well, it's working at the preseason level, which isn't quite the NFL level, especially when he's playing in the second half. But still, it's close. I mean, it's certainly closer than college, and his plays are still working. Like, his legs are still being big assets. So it's kind of one of those weird things where it's hard to know exactly how valuable a Sam Howell is. But at the end of the day, if he moves the ball down the field, that's your job as a quarterback, is to just move the ball down the field, and he has been consistent at doing that. So you kind of have to, tip your cap to him, and at a certain point say, it's working. So again, he's not a starter. Carson Wentz will be, but there's potential there. You can talk yourself into it, certainly. But number 1, if you've been watching the channel, and really if you've just been watching the preseason, you probably know, I think Kenny Pickett's been very good. He's been the 19th best quarterback according to Pro Football Focus, period. And again, these aren't rookies. They're just all quarterbacks that took at least 1 snap in the preseason. Only 18 graded better than him. He was very good. He's made a lot of quick decisions, which I always like from young quarterbacks. Not a lot of young quarterbacks do that. We felt like he was the most pro-ready NFL quarterback, and he looks like the most pro-ready NFL quarterback. And, I can see I kind of made a half-hearted Mac Jones comparison, but I like Mac Jones a lot more as a prospect than I liked Kenny Pickett. I had Mac Jones. I thought Mac Jones should have been drafted 3rd by the 49ers. Kenny Pickett I had as more of like a late first-rounder. But maybe I shouldn't have. There's the comparison is a little bit closer than I thought. Maybe not. I don't know. It's going to be hard to say. But for someone who eventually mastered an offense in college, he's come in right away and looked like he gets this offense right away. I think he should start. I think he should be the week 1 starter, but that's just kind of how I view it. So, yeah, that's my rankings for the 6 quarterbacks. Let me know. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.